everyone, my name is Laura. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Thanks for clicking on this video. So today I'm going to give you a Hoya update video. A lot of you have been asking how my Hoya are doing, so I thought I'd hop on here and give you an update just on Hoya. I will be filming an updates video on not Hoya. So if you're not a Hoya person or you really don't care about my Hoya, there is another updates video coming that's not Hoya related. But for now, I am gonna walk around and just show you some updates regarding my Hoya. Starting with this group of Hoya here, I know I showed you these in my all the Hoya I've gotten so far this year video. I got all of these at the same time, so that's why they're all kind of sitting here. They were all cuttings, and they have all since rooted up very nicely. My Surrey-Goensis here is starting to put out some new growth, which is super exciting. It's pretty tiny, but it's something, and it is, like I said, rooted up. Everything's rooted up back here. So that is exciting. I'm hoping it'll start growing. All the Hoya that I have here rooted up much slower than my Hoya usually do, and I didn't do anything different. So I'm not sure what happened, but they have all since rooted up, but the growth has been slow. The chicken farm, also no new growth. It is rooted, but it rooted near the bottom, so there's still a lot of stem there. It's also fallen off of this table a couple times, and I'm just very glad it survived those falls. I don't know, it didn't root up there near the top, so I don't know if it will or what the deal is with it, but yeah, that is what this is looking like. It still has that peduncle here at the top, but yeah, I'm not sure about this one. The Daikie also has rooted up nicely, still no new growth though, and all of the sun stressing is gone, but the splashiness on it is very kind of cool looking, so that's looking great. The verticulata confirmed. This one was definitely planted upside down, but it is getting a little growth sprout here. I don't know if you can see that little bit of green, so I'm just leaving it. I'm just letting it be. I might chop it and re-stick it in the moss to see what happens, but for now I'm letting it be. This one is also getting a little tiny growth bitty right there. I just sprayed all of these, and I took the shots for this part of the video separately, some before and some after. So if it looks like the plants were sprayed and then they look dry and then it looks like they were sprayed again, that's why. I bet no one noticed, but now everyone notices because I said it. But anyway, the elliptica is also rooted up, has a little bit of a growth nub right there. And oh, I see another one right there. Cool. We got two growth nubs on this guy. Sweet. The Angleriana is taking off. That's this guy right there. It has grown a ton. All of this from here and up is new, and it also has put out another little sprout right there. So that one's doing great. Dischidia ovata is also doing great, rooted up, and it has a little growth right there. Again, I know this isn't a Hoya, but I kind of have it with all my Hoyas, so it's hanging out there. Quinquenervia back here, nothing is happening with this one. It is rooted up, but no new growth. This little guy right here is my Lee China, rooted up, no new growth. Back here, Patella Pink, also rooted up. And I don't know if you can see a little tiny bit of new growth there, but nothing too crazy. Katzbergii is rooted up, and it looks like it wants to grow. Let's see. It has activated that growth point. There we go. But no new growth yet, no new leaves, but it does look like that growth point has been activated. So hopefully we'll get some growth here soon. And the last one here is my unknown Hoya. I've had a couple of people tell me what they think it is. I think gracilis was one, but I have a gracilis, and the growth pattern on this is very different, and the shape of the leaves is very different. So I don't think that's what it is, but please keep commenting what you think it is, because I would like to know. That one has rooted up, but it also does not have any new growth. So that is it for all of these Hoya. That's all the updates I have. Let's move to other Hoya. The variegated obovata did put out these two leaves. I think you saw these though in the last video where I showed this. These I think were relatively new then. It hasn't put out any new growth, but it does look like this little growth point is thinking about putting out some new growth. So maybe we'll get some new growth on the variegated obovata. That would be super fun. So much new growth on my Crimson Princess. I'm just blown away. I have so many vines that are just spitting out new growth everywhere. We've got lots of pink leaves, we've got lots of just like creamy leaves, and we do have some green in here that's reverted, but I think it looks cool. I think it gives it dimension. So that is getting nice and big and full and just like absolutely beautiful. So I'm very excited about this one. Very excited about this one. I love when the new vines come in and they're just like bright pink, like the actual vine. So cool. And I love how different all the leaves look. Like this leaf and that leaf and this leaf like are all from the same plant, and these two here, it looks like just like completely different plants. I just love the variety on this Hoya. Okay, I will be doing an updates soon on my cabinet just in general because there's a lot of new stuff in here, lots of fun stuff, but I have a couple Hoya to update you on. First is my Hoya obscura. First of all, look at those aerial roots. They look crazy. They're so long. The sun stressing is beautiful as always, and we got a peduncle. Let me set it down because I have the shakiest hands in the world and then it'll never focus. But do you see that? We've got a peduncle. Come on, there it is. How exciting. How exciting. And Hoya obscura flowers look so neat, so I'm very excited for this to just bloom for me. The peduncle's been there for probably about 2 or 3 weeks now, so it's taken its sweet time, but peduncles tend to do that when they're fresh, so I'm just gonna try to be patient. But yeah, I'm very excited. The next Hoya that I want to update you on here in my cabinet is my Mathilde. It really wasn't doing very hot. The last time I showed it to you was probably a few months ago in my All My Hoya video. And one of you suggested that the soil mix looked very airy and the pot was very small, and it is a terracotta pot, so it was wicking out a lot of the moisture, and it probably was just getting too dry, and that's why it wasn't growing. And so I've been watering it a lot more, and we have new growth. We have new growth. It looks fantastic. It's been doing so much better. Thank you to the person who gave me that tip, because now my Mathilde is growing and it looks beautiful. Look at those splashy leaves. Oh, stunning. Okay, my Hoya Willeniana put out this beautiful leaf, and I just have to show it to you. Like, it gets sunstressed like really red and purple, and when I got this, it was a 1-leaf cutting, and the 1 leaf, which was this one, was bright red, and it since has lost its sun stressing, and it's put out those 2 leaves. This one is like a little sun stressed, but then it put this one out, and that is just like the coolest shade of purple, and it has the speckling. It's just such a beautiful leaf. I've never seen this coloration on a Hoya Willeniana, or really any Hoya, so I'm really excited about this. I have it really close to a grow light, so I'm hoping that more leaves will come out sun stressed and looking like this, because that is just so cool. This is my Hoya Cagayensis. This is another one that's always kind of struggled for me. If you grow Hoya Cagayensis and it does well for you, please let me know what you do. It has been able to keep more than 1 leaf, so as you can see, it put out 2 and is putting out another one up there, but they look kind of chlorotic. I don't know. Like, do you see that? It doesn't look right. Like, none of that looks right. But it is holding on to more leaves. The only thing I've changed is I keep it closer to the light, so I don't know if maybe that's why the leaves are looking kind of weirdly colored, as it's getting too much light, but it's the only way I've been able to keep more than 1 leaf on this thing. So Hoya Cagayensis, not doing so hot, but hey, I'm being real. I'm updating you on my plants. Some of them just aren't gonna do well, and that's the way it is. This is my regular green Hoya Huskeliana, and it's doing all right. Like, if you remember, this came back from the dead. I had a plant that was probably about twice the size as this, and it got root rot, and I didn't notice until it was like way too late, and I managed to save these 2 little cuttings that are in here, and they each, I think, had 1 or 2 leaves, and it took forever for them to root because they're super dehydrated. And then once they rooted, they like weren't growing and weren't growing and weren't growing, and finally they are. So they've put out 3 or 4 new leaves now, which is very exciting. And it's not a lot, but it's honest work, you know? It's doing its best, and I'm happy that it's growing. I think that's it for my cabinet for now. I will be doing an update on my whole cabinet, so keep your eyes out for that video, but that's all the Hoya that have been doing stuff that I wanted to show you that are living in my cabinet. This Hoya Thomsonii lighting is terrible because the sun is like starting to set, so my apologies. But it is still super rooted up. Roots look great, and now it's putting out some new leaves, so that's super exciting. I love how fuzzy this Hoya is. Look at that. I think when I showed it to you before, I talked about how fuzzy it was, but the camera was not picking up on the fuzzes. But like with the lighting right now, look at that. It's just like, it's like hairy. Like it's like beyond fuzzy. It literally just like is hairy. I love it. I love it so much. So yes, new growth, very exciting. We love it. Okay, Hoya numeroloides, another one that's doing rough. You can see, look at that. Ugh, yikes. It is not doing well. Yeah, these are the cuttings that I showed you before. A bunch of them died. All the peduncles fell off of them. And now I'm just like desperately trying to see if any of this will root. I don't know if it will. I have it split into 2 little cups. One of them's here, one of them is somewhere else, but neither is doing well. Neither is doing well at all. So cross your fingers and your toes for my poor little numeroloides that is just, it's just struggling. And I'm on my porch now cooking myself because it is about 100 degrees out today. The first Hoya that I wanted to update you on is my fungi. It hasn't changed a ton since I showed it to you last, but it has struggled, and I think I overwatered it. It dropped a bunch of leaves. Here's one of them. It was very sad. It had a bunch of baby leaves and then it dropped them. So this whole vine up here is just like naked. Like this is where it dropped some leaves from, and then lower it dropped a couple more leaves. So, oh, a bummer. It's my bad for overwatering it, but oh well. It will continue to grow and put out new leaves, but I just wanted to show it to you. Okay, enough with the sad updates. Let's get a happy one. Here's my Hoya multiflora. It has so many blooms coming in. Look at that. All from that new peduncle I showed you. So this is the one that dropped a peduncle. It was like right around there. There's, you can see kind of where it dropped it from. But it dropped a peduncle while I was gone for 4th of July weekend. It got too dry and dropped the peduncle, but then it like almost immediately put out another one, and it is like about to pop. Like these blooms are about to pop. I'm so excited. It has 2 new leaves and kind of an active little growth point right there. Sweet. So I'm very excited for this. We love a good Hoya bloom here. We absolutely love them. This is another exciting one. This is my variegated Hoya Houseplant. It had put out this teeny tiny leaf for me, and that was all the growth it did for me in like a month. But then it sprouted some new growth over here. So we've got 2 leaves back there, 2 new baby leaves up here. Oh, hello. There we go. And a little growth point. So looks like it's starting to take off. It's grown pretty quick now. Those 4 leaves it put out, I think, in like 3 days. So I'm very, very excited about that. This isn't like a growth update. It's just like a update, I guess. I moved my Hoya species Affinis Bertoniae out onto my porch because I want it to bloom, and I don't think it was getting enough lighting. Sorry if the back lighting is just awful. Hold on. Let me move it down so that maybe you can see it better. There we go. I moved it out here onto my porch. I really want it to bloom. I don't think it was getting enough light where I had it before for it to bloom. It used to have a peduncle like a very, very long time ago when I first got it, and it dropped it pretty quickly once I brought it home, which was kind of a bummer. So I'm hoping it will get me another peduncle and get blooming, because I've heard these are really prolific bloomers. So it's definitely growing a ton. You can see new growth everywhere. So I think it's doing really well. I moved it out here about a week ago, so I'm not expecting a ton of change in a week, but maybe by the end of the summer we'll have a peduncle or 2. This is a very exciting update. This is my Hoya Rosita. I actually don't know if you saw this when I showed you my porch tour, so maybe you already know this. I don't know if this had happened yet when I filmed that video, so if I'm repeating myself, oh well, just know I'm very excited about it. But my Rosita has a peduncle. So exciting. Look at that little peduncle. The flowers on this look very similar to the Latensis. Oh, there we go. which has bloomed for me in the past, and they're really cute. They look like little buttons, so I'm very excited for this. I really love my Hoya rosita, and that's hanging out there. This isn't really a specific update, but this little trio of Hoya, my Australis there at the top, my Linearis here on the left, and my Lacunosa, the narrow leaf variety over here, are just growing so much. They're all starting to tangle into each other. Like this here from my Australis, this up here from my Lacunosa are tangling together. My Lacunosa and my Linearis have like become one over here. It's just a mess. They're just all very tangled into each other, but I love the way it looks. I'm gonna be really sad when I have to bring them inside because I love them out here. Hoya Rebecca is about to bloom out of 2 of its peduncles. One up here. This is the newest peduncle that it's given me. There it is. It's about to bloom. It looks like there's a lot of flowers that are gonna be on that. This peduncle here is also another one that's about to bloom. This is one of the older peduncles, but also looks like it has so many flowers that are gonna be coming. And then the other peduncle over here, it is not as ready to bloom, but it will. You can see kind of little buds forming there at the tip. Hoya polyneura is just growing so much, so quickly. It had shot out this vine. I think I showed it to you in my porch tour. I think maybe it had like 3 or 4 leaves on it. It's growing so much. Like, it's just such a fast grower for me right now. And then this vine over here also has new growth on it. It does have a couple of peduncles. It's done this for me before and they always dry up. So if anyone has tips or experience with blooming Hoya polyneura, let me know. Do you see that peduncle right there? And then there's one right there on the new little growth. It tends to put them out and then they just dry up for me and fall off. So I'm trying to keep it well watered, but also I don't want to toe into like root rot territory, so I don't really know what to do. So again, if you have any experience with having Hoya polyneura bloom, let me know what I should do to keep these from drying up and falling off. So it'd be so fun to have that bloom. Look at all those peduncles, so fun. Hoya latensis is also getting ready to bloom here soon. There's a peduncle down here, but that one doesn't look to be like it's wanting to bloom anytime soon. But this one up here is starting to get little buds on the tip of it. It's not really wanting to focus, so I apologize if you can't see that super well, but yeah, you can kind of see the little buds there on the tip. So that is Hoya latensis, and I'm excited for this one to bloom. This one and my Hoya Rebecca just bloom nonstop. Like the moment that the flowers fall off, and they don't last very long, they last like maybe a week, but the moment they fall off, we've got new blooms coming in. So it's very exciting. I always have a Hoya in bloom between these two. And the last Hoya that I have to update you on is my Hoya macrophylla. This one has just been growing so much. Like even between the last video that I filmed that this one was in and this video, it's maybe been like 2 weeks. And it's put out like 6 new leaves in like a week and a half. And it put out this all yellow one, which I've never seen before. I think it's really cool. I thought it was gonna fall off because that happens to my Hoya leaves sometimes when they're gonna fall off. But no, it is hardening off. It's just all yellow, which I think is really cool. And there we have a little baby leaf that's all pink and so many new vines. It's just growing so much. So yeah, I wanted to give you a little update on this one because it's doing so great. And this is one of those Hoya that just surprised me. Like I wasn't expecting to love it. I got it because, I don't know, I hate to admit it, but it's like, oh, everyone has a Hoya macrophylla. I like Hoya. I must have a Hoya macrophylla. That's why I ended up getting it. And it didn't do much for me for a long time, and now it's just taking off, and I've just found myself loving this Hoya. So yeah, I wanted to leave you with that one. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. Let me know how your Hoya are doing, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!